Hi, I'm Stephanie J. Block.
And I'm Mary Lee Fairbanks.
Welcome to Season 3 of Stages Podcast,
where we continue to bring creation and connection to center stage. The biggest day for Broadway fans returns to New York City's Theater District on Sunday, October 1st. The Broadway Flea Market and Grand Auction unites all theater fans, whether they're on stage, behind the scenes, or in the audience, in their hunt for Broadway-themed treasures, unique experiences, and theater magic. Theater lovers of every kind will have the opportunity to take home a one-of-a-kind memento, an autographed collectible, and bid on an exclusive Broadway experience, and items including props, costume pieces, opening night theater packages, and so much more. The Broadway Flea Market and Grand Auction will run 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. with tables on West 44th and West 45th Street. The silent auction is in Schubert Alley, and the live Grand Auction wrapping up the day at 5 p.m. in Times Square Pedestrian Plaza between 45th and 46th Streets. For more info, visit BroadwayCares.org. Don't miss it.
Oh, that's awesome. Like my first big voiceover thing. It's very exciting.
Are you the voice of Mercedes? Because I just auditioned for that. Thought I was going to nail it. It wasn't me. Is it you?
Well, no, but I did a Mercedes one in the past. I had a British accent. I was like a narrator on an audiobook that was playing in the car of the Mercedes.
Right. Because you have to be fancy to own a Mercedes.
And I actually
fancy equates British accent.
Well, I was reading Alice in Wonderland to the little girl in the car. That was what was playing in the car.
Sweet.
And what's so cool was they were casting for British speakers, and I'm not, I just have an accent. But when I went in, I pretended like I never let it slip. No. And they all thought, oh, good. They were so relieved when I came in and started talking my British accent because they thought they got a native speaker.
Yeah, right. You were authentically from the land of Mary Poppins.
I was like, oh, actually, I'm just a Broadway actor, and this is one of my accents, but I kept it speaking in the British accent, so they were kind of confused.
I want to hear it. Let me hear
the
your
gig.
Come on.
I think what I said on the commercial was like, "Curiouser and curiouser," cried Alice. Oh, I forget what the rest of it was, but it was
doesn't matter. That was perfect, and people bought Mercedes. And
they did.
Arielle Jacobs made her Broadway debut as Nina Rosario in the Heights. She also performed on Broadway in Wicked as Nessa Rose and Princess Jasmine in Disney's Aladdin. She is currently starring in what I have heard called a breakout performance in Here Lies Love. She plays the former Philippine First Lady, Imelda Marcos. She's an animal lover, which speaks to my heart, and she has created a charity, and she sells dog and cat accessories where all the proceeds go to shelters. I love this, of course. It's called BroadwayPup.com. Her debut solo album, A Leap in the Dark, live at Feinstein's 54 Below, is a story of dreams, hope, faith, and fighting for what you believe in, and it is available now. We'll have a link for that. Welcome, please, to the podcast, Arielle Jacobs.
Arielle Jacobs to stage, please. Ms. Jacobs, can we have you to stage? Can I speak immediately to growing up in Half Moon Bay? Because one of my favorite pastimes late at night is to look at real estate. I always look at Half Moon Bay.
I love it there.
Yes.
It's gorgeous there.
Picturesque. Water speaks to both my husband and I, and we found this niche little town. And when I saw that you spent some of your childhood there, I was like, oh, I need to know how that felt growing up there. Would you recommend it?
Oh, I loved Half Moon Bay. When I grew up there, it was not as developed as it is now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure there was no Ritz-Carlton like there is now.
Okay.
But I also remember that there was this law that they couldn't build anything above 3 stories.
Yes.
Because they didn't want it to grow like into this big city. So they kept it pretty small, and you would go around the town, and there's like the little miniature post office and the little mini cafes and so many art galleries. And where we lived, it was a neighborhood development right across the street from this eucalyptus forest that had this pathway down it that led you right to the beach.
I know exactly where that is. I've gone to that. I've gone to that the Ritz-Carlton there a couple of times with one of Michael's companies, like on a company outing. So I've been there 3 or 4 times to that place, and it is gorgeous. It's
See,
gorgeous. There's
now-
beautiful hikes everywhere. It's just
Mhm.
incredible. Yeah, I could
Now
live
I
there.
think of the Jacobs brother sister team walking that your sinuses are open. It helps you become singers. Like it's nature or
helped us.
nurture. I think it did. I think it opened up
hilarious.
Your
that allows you to
sinuses
be
are
such
open.
powerful singers. They
That's
grew up
so
next to
funny.
an eucalyptus forest, for God's sakes.
You never know. And the salt water, you know,
And the
fresh
salt
air.
water.
Mhm.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
all for it. I really,
But-
really love that hood.
Did you know that they also are the pumpkin capital of the world? And
No.
I
at
didn't
least
know that.
when we lived there, they had all of these flower nurseries that
Okay.
also would provide a lot of the flowers that you see up and down California. When I was living in LA, I actually went to the Whole Foods and I saw that there was a bouquet of flowers there. It said, "Where was it from?" And it said Half Moon Bay.
No kidding.
And I didn't realize that. But then during fall or September, October, all of the flower nurseries transitioned into being
Pumpkin farms.
farms. And so they're just giant pumpkin farms. And then they send those up and down the coast as well. And then every October is a pumpkin festival where the main street in the little town has a festival that's all dedicated to pumpkin everything, which is why I still to this day love pumpkin everything.
Pumpkin everything.
And then the farmers would bring their biggest pumpkins and they would try and win the competition of the biggest pumpkin. And it was usually like this misshapen, large, giant thing. It was like
massive
1,200,
gourd.
and it was about 1,200 pounds. Like it just felt very fairy tale.
It's
It was
funny. You don't picture
amazing.
California when you picture that. It's just a very New England thing. Like that's what we have up
Yeah.
here. Very New England kind of thing. Do you miss it? You must miss it now living in a city.
I do. And it's funny. So we moved from Half Moon Bay to Princeton, New Jersey when I was starting high school.
Oh, okay.
And, it's weird when people say, "Where are you from?" My childhood really was kind of split. Like pre-high school was Half Moon Bay, and then high
Mhm.
school onward was Princeton, New Jersey. But I always tell people that I'm from California. It just feels so me. And even when I go back to San Francisco, I'm sure there's just some cities where whenever you arrive, you feel like home.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for some people, it's not even the city they grew up in. But for me, when I get to the Bay Area, that's
Mhm.
exactly how I feel.
So I feel the same way, Arielle. The Southern California I will always say I'm a California girl for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really hard time to move. I mean, right before high school, that's a big
that is a hard
transition
time to
because that's the
move.
age when you're really into your friends and you feel like
Okay, no,
they're my
not
best
me.
friends forever. Oh, really? Not you? Okay.
No.
I was bullied really badly in middle school. So
I
Are you
read
kidding?
about this. I went onto your blog on your website and you write paragraph after paragraph about being bullied, about finding a space that women can speak to each other and we feel like we're carrying all of this hurt and all of this embarrassment and all of the shame. In that blog, you are using it for advocacy for girls and young women. And with your organization, the Girls Camaraderie Project, and you have now started workshops and seminars in schools to bring camaraderie rather than competition amongst middle school girls because of how badly you were bullied. Not to bring up the pain, not
Yeah,
to dig it all up again, but it really was the impetus of starting this incredible
Yes.
organization.
Yes. And I think that happens for a lot of people a lot of times when you are hurt in life, whether it's something that happens to us or something that happens to someone we love. A lot of times what we need for healing or medicine becomes a purpose, a bigger purpose. So I always say your medicine is your purpose. That's something that I came up with that I believe. And for me, when I was in middle school, actually, there was a club in my grade that I found out about at the end of the year that had been growing and bubbling through the whole year. It was called AAA. And I didn't know what it stood for. And I would ask people, what is AAA? Because they'd be doing these cheers, these like silly dances. And they told me, what they said? They said, oh, it just stands for Assholes Across America. We just call this 800 number and then we're part of this group and it's called Assholes Across America. And so they lied to me about it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay. But then at the end of the school year, I found out that it stood for All Against Arielle.
Oh
All
my
against-
God.
No, I mean,
And everyone in my grade was part of this club.
That is horrible.
And it just, for me, it was like earth shattering because
of
I
course.
felt like who were these people that I was surrounded by for a year? I didn't even know who to trust. I felt like no matter what anyone says, they're probably lying. And if people are nice, do they actually mean it? It's just that there's so much involved.
How
in
old were you when this happened?
13?
13?
Yeah. 12 or 13.
That's a really vulnerable time. You know, like I don't know if you're into the energy system of the body.
Yeah.
13 is right when the heart opens.
That's right.
And that's why you see a lot of young girls, they grow their hair really long, they hunch their shoulders forward, they kind of concave their chest because the heart chakra opens at 13, 14.
And they're protecting themselves. They're preserving themselves.
Their body is protecting them. And so for such a traumatic experience of betrayal to happen at that age, that is really hard to overcome. And the way you've handled it is one of the things I always call collateral beauty. You know, it's just this beauty that came out of something unexpected, something painful, and you turned
when
it
the
into
medicine
something
is
beautiful.
your purpose.
That's right. That's amazing.
At my age, when I don't feel great about myself or someone has pushed a really still, delicate button, I look in the mirror, I'm still 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Even at 51. It's when you're the most vulnerable, right? And in the mirror, if I'm looking at my imperfections or where I feel I need to work most, I'm feeling my most vulnerable or weak, it's that age. And I guess it speaks to what you just said, Mary Lee, that our hearts are so wildly open and we are not emotionally evolved yet to know really how to speak for, preserve our own little hearts. So, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
So when all that happened, what did you do? Was that part of the impetus for you guys moving across the country, or?
No, that was luck. So my dad was working at the time for a publishing house. They wanted to relocate him to the East Coast. And he was kind of putting them off for a few years because he wanted to time it right for my brother and I in our schooling. So my brother and I are 4 years apart. So my brother Adam was starting college at the same year that I was starting high school. So it kind of worked out that my parents decided this is the right time, and we went to New Jersey. The timing was
divine.
perfect.
It was divine timing.
It really was. And Princeton, I don't know if you've been there, but
I love it.
I love Princeton. And I loved it at the time because it was cultured. The Princeton University is right there.
Yeah.
I went to at the time I was obsessed with Jane Goodall, and I used to read her book, and then she was speaking at the university. So I got to go, hear her speak and meet her afterwards. And, those opportunities I wasn't going to have out in Half Moon Bay. So it just felt right. And I also loved that the school that I went to, the high school I went to, Princeton High School, they happened to have one of the top 5 choirs in the country. So I started singing in the choir, and the high school was actually across the street from the Westminster Choir College, which had a lot of graduate students who were studying voice. And I took lessons with one of them every week. So my love of music and my skill became at the forefront, and it was just where we ended up was just so fortuitous.
I find too that music, especially at that age, is super healing. I think I always would lock myself in my room. I feel like you're a kindred spirit. I would often lock myself in my room and sing because it was a way for me to process a world that felt kind of hostile and confusing to me often. And so I connected deeply with animals. I would sit in my backyard. I had chickens and rabbits. My mother always indulged me with my pets. I had dogs and chickens and rabbits. And I thought I would be a vet, and I was obsessed with Jane Goodall. I still am obsessed with Jane.
Me too.
Part of what I would do is when I was confused or hurting or felt lonely, I would go and lock myself in my room and sing Streisand. And I could literally, I could feel the energy shift. I would turn one thing into another thing through song. And that was a very powerful tool for me as a young kid. I mean, I think it's still really powerful in life.
Yeah. And I think as an artist too, I mean, growing up, I never, I mean, the traumatic thing that happened to me where I was bullied definitely closed me off, but I also think I grew up in a household that didn't share their feelings very much. So then as an artist, as a performer, like you said, whenever I perform and I sing, it like opens up a door. It allows me to share and express and feel, even if the character's feeling things I never felt, I'm touching different parts of myself that are feeling things and then sending them in an outward direction. And I think that in itself is healing for me too.
Oh, way healing. Yeah. To find that venue to communicate, whether it's authentically yourself or even 45% of yourself, draped in a character of storytelling. Another thing that I was reading, it might have been a Broadway.com or Playbill.com article, but you spoke about your career going in places that you never expected it to go. You used the word unfolding, and that to me resonated because, again, I think when we fall in love with music or the art form really young, and I started singing at 11 or 12, I'd make the dream boards. I'd have the vision of where I thought, I was going to go. Then developing Wicked, I thought I knew what was going to bring me to Broadway. I always thought what the next step was going to be. And it never, ever turned out the way I thought it was going to be.
You
And
can't
then
plan those
you
things.
can't. But then you
It's
look
not in
back
your
and you
control.
go, oh my gosh, it wasn't what I expected it, but it was exactly how I needed it to be. Do you feel similarly that as a young woman, you may have thought, aha, that's going to be the path, yet your landscape looked completely different?
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely things in my path that I saw and thought I could do that. And I want to do that. One of them was In the Heights. I saw that show the night before the Tony nominations were announced for that year. So I brought my whole family. We all went to see it. And I thought that role, I think I can do that. And I think I want to do that. So I auditioned for it. And so what's funny is they thought that they were just casting for potential future replacements. And I came in and I sang all the stuff for Nina and Vanessa, actually, so they weren't sure yet. And they actually, at my callbacks, they were like, oh, we love what you're doing. I think we should start casting the tour with you.
Wow.
So they cast me a whole year before the tour went out.
Wow.
I was the first person they cast, and then they kind of developed the cast around me. But that's a wonderful thing that just happened to occur. But then what's funny is that after my 1-year contract ended on the tour, I left. I could have stayed in the tour, and I decided to leave because I thought I want to make my Broadway debut. I think this could be the role. I was kind of putting my foot in the direction of that's where I want to go. And if I'm on tour, I don't know if it's going to work out because they'll just keep me where they have me. What's funny is right after I left the tour, I found out that the closing notice came out and the show was going to close really soon. So I thought, oh, great, I just shot myself in the foot and I'm not going to get to play the role anymore. My mom at the time said, why don't you just call Broadway and just tell them, like, if they want you to
call Broadway. I love that when moms say call Broadway.
The Broadway.
Or why aren't you on Friends? You should be on
Broadway
Friends,
and
Stephanie.
tell them.
Yes, I was like, I don't know, Mom. I don't think it works like that. But I actually, I got really brave and I called my agent and I kind of did what she said. I was like, hey, can you just reach out to them and see if that whoever's playing Nina is going to maybe want to take a week off for Christmas? Like, I have the costumes. I know the show. So my agent made the call and they said in the same phone call, oh, wow. Well, we were actually about to call you because we were wondering if she wanted to come close the show as Nina for the final 2 months. They
weren't
like
divine.
It was just like, I put it out there, but
does
then
this
it
happen
met
a
me.
lot? Do you feel like there's like, no, I'm serious. Do you feel like sometimes when you really focus and put your intention on one thing, that the universe somehow is in cahoots with you and you both can will it to happen?
Yes.
And does this happen often with you?
Yes. And
That's
I think
amazing.
it's about thought. It's about, thinking that you deserve to be someplace, believing so much in that. But then it's also about taking action. Then if you don't take the action, then I think the universe doesn't open the door.
So funny. That's exactly what we said in last week's episode.
Well, it was
talking
with
to Lilius, and I said,
Lilius.
You can have the intention, you can have the drive, but without the action, it doesn't go anywhere. It just dissipates.
And a lot of people don't take the action because there's a little self-doubt.
Mhm.
And they're afraid of being judged, or they're afraid that they can't actually live up to what they want to
Oh,
achieve.
Or that
yeah.
they
There's a
don't-
whole
or that-
host of reasons as to why. Yeah.
Sometimes we don't feel subtly that we deserve what it is that we dream of. And also we feel that it's out of our control and up to someone else.
Exactly. And as
Yeah.
artists, that's such a trap.
It's a terrible, terrible trap. Yeah. To fall into, especially with actors, because you are sort of conditioned to feel, oh, you don't like it? Okay, well, step aside because there's 50 more girls just like you right behind you,
Exactly.
And so you
Yeah.
learn to be quiet and, oh, I don't want to cause any trouble. And it's about the will. And it's also about knowing exactly what you want. A lot of times people don't actually know how to articulate exactly what it is that they truly want. And so nothing can come.
Yes, I will also say this because I know we are all spiritual beings. Everybody in this conversation, I feel like we are privileged in the sense that we have supporters. We may even have the financial luxury to make these decisions and say, I get to step away from the tour. I get to ask this. I also feel that when you are in proximity, seeing other people's dreams happen for them, then it feels possible for you.
Mhm.
In your case, not that this is what made it happen for you, but there's your brother
Exactly.
kind of ahead of you, just 4 years ahead, doing the dream. You're seeing it happen for him, and that makes it possible. For me, I had a mentor that made sure that I was surrounded by people, even if they were on the stage and I didn't know them personally, but she would buy me the ticket that I could not afford, nor could my parents afford, to be in the third row center and see it and know it's right. It's there. It's right there.
It's closer than
And I
you
think that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Having a sibling in this industry is that's so rare. You are in a crazy class in and of itself. I started
for
to
the listeners, you should explain who your
forgive
brother
me.
is,
Yes,
and what
please
show
do.
he's
Forgive
in,
me.
because people might not know.
So my brother, most known as the original Aladdin in Aladdin on Broadway.
Yep.
And before that, he was on Broadway as Simba in The Lion King. Before that, he made his Broadway debut as Marius in Les Mis. And before that, he toured the country as Sky in Mamma Mia, and also as the Prince in Cinderella. He also was Zorro in the original U.S. premiere of Zorro.
Well, between the two of you and the excellence, what a rare position that puts you in. Again, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, there's Sutton and Hunter, Celia and Andrew. This is wild. Jesse, the Muellers, Jesse, Abby, Matthew, and Andrew, all four are working. Then Patti LuPone and Robert LuPone. Maybe we can recall 10 where that relationship actually exists on Broadway. That's got to be a huge badge of pride mutually for each other as siblings, because even reaching that as a single person is crazy. Then when you have two siblings that are doing it, that's got to be crazy even for your parents.
Yeah. And I think the reason that we were able to achieve the success we've had is because of our parents, because they were the ones who put us through lessons that we requested. Like, I wanted to take voice lessons, so they found me a teacher, and I wanted to take dance, and so they paid for my dance lessons. And I convinced my brother to start taking voice lessons as well. And then he and I both performed in this kids troupe in the Bay Area called the Razzle Dazzle Kids. And we were doing community theater everywhere. My mom shuttled us over the hill. It's called Over the Hill when you live in Half Moon Bay and you have to go over the hill to the other part of the bay. But it was, an hour each way. And
that's a commitment.
To do that for us because we were passionate about it and also never pushing it. So, it was only so far as we wanted to do it. And neither of my parents are in the arts, but they just believed in, nurturing what we were passionate about. And that was it. And never saying, don't do it. Even when my brother and I wanted to do this in college, it was, there wasn't what's your backup plan? We never had any of that. And I think that just allowed us to dream big.
It didn't instill their fears in you.
Right. My
Right.
mother still says, I think you would be a great lawyer, Stephanie.
Oh.
You could use your acting skills in the courtroom. I really feel strongly about this.
Oh my gosh.
Would you and Adam like scheme and plan and come up with dreams together? Or was it more of, besides the razzle dazzle, performing troupe, would you guys dream together?
Not so much. We had our
No.
individual journeys. I was always so in awe of him whenever when I would go see him starring in his high school productions. He was Billy Bigelow and Carousel. And,
Mhm.
seeing him at that age, I mean, I don't know if you can imagine, but like he's such a powerhouse of a performer, but he had that voice and he had that passion in his artistry as every character he ever played, even in, age 16, 17, it was just there.
Wow.
So I was just so in awe of him. And
Sounds like he's in awe of you too.
Oh, thank you.
It's so beautiful. That relationship seems so, so, so beautiful.
I want to go to your parents for a second, though. I know that they came over from the Philippines when they were teenagers, right?
My mom, yeah.
Your mom did.
My dad was born in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So your dad's not Filipino.
No, my dad's American, white, Jewish.
So what I was wondering, because I thought both of them came over. I thought I read that, but I was wondering if you had like the traditions from the culture. I mean, my great grandparents came from Italy and had all of these traditions that were passed down, and now they've all been watered down and filtered away, and we don't really practice them. And I wondered if you had anything like that in your family growing up.
So my family's tradition was very insular. So like my mom's Catholic, my dad was Jewish.
Yeah.
So our traditions were, we had our Christmas tree and, sometimes
menorah.
we would talk about, yeah, Hanukkah. But, it was more of the grandparents on both sides. So sometimes we went to my dad's mother's house, my grandma, for Passover, and we would have, the meal there and do the whole ceremony that they have. And then sometimes we would go to my mom's parents, my grandparents, who were in Salinas, and they were part of the Filipino community center there. So we would go and be a part of everything that's going on there. And my brother and I would perform for the whole community. So we were introduced to it when we would visit other family. It's funny. I just bought a new cookbook. That's a vegan Filipino cookbook. Because all the Filipino food is meat centered.
Yeah.
And my husband is vegan. I'm pescatarian, so I don't eat meat. And so much of that food, it's like it's impossible to find it even in New York City where there's everything. It's impossible to find a vegetarian version or vegan version of those meals. So that's my new project. I'm excited to start learning that.
But now you're working with an all Filipino cast.
I know, and it's so beautiful.
I bet it is.
Exciting, and all of us feel such pride because this has, I mean, all of us, I don't know if any of us have played Filipino characters before Here Lies Love, because they don't exist in the theater world. And even the film and TV world, there's just not a lot of characters written as Filipinos. So to be able to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Fully ourselves,
Yes.
It's very meaningful.
Of course, we're speaking about Here Lies Love. This project has had quite a long life already. There were so many different chapters to it before coming to Broadway. Were you able to see it before it did come to Broadway? And was that another role that you, with full intentionality, looked and went, aha,
that's
I'm
mine.
gonna use some woo-woo, and the universe and I are going to try to create this for me.
Well, I actually didn't remember this until I was in rehearsals for the Broadway production. But I was looking through some past emails at the time, and I discovered I auditioned for this show 12 years ago.
Wow.
Before it was at the public. It was in like developmental workshops. And I had sent in a self-tape or something. And I auditioned for it, and I didn't even remember that I did.
Because you were a baby person.
Yeah, and we don't
baby
remember every audition we ever do.
No, of course not. No.
But at the time, the feedback was, we love her so much, but it's just not the right time, but maybe in potential future productions. 12 years later, it's insane.
And the character that you're playing, though, I mean, that is one complex woman. I haven't seen the show yet. And so it's hard for me to wrap my mind around how is the show telling such a complex story in that atmosphere. Like when I see it, it's just all I've seen is like the lights and the disco balls and the dancing. And it's just like, it looks like a party, but I'm thinking the story you're telling is like,
It's controversial.
it's very controversial. And
Yeah.
she's a really complex woman. And history has repeated itself over there, right? The family is back in power. And so you wonder, how are you telling this story? How is the storyline getting heard amidst all of the music and the dance and the
Immersiveness
lights?
of it all.
Yeah, that's the word, immersive. Yeah.
Well, you know, all of that flashy lights and disco dancing and party atmosphere, it does two things. Number one, it draws people to the theater. It gets them excited, it gets them interested. But number two, it is meant to be a storytelling device, because what it does is it mirrors the experience of the Filipino people at the beginning of the Marcos presidency and campaign trail. And then eventually, after all of that excitement of, you know, we elected these people who are going to, you know, save our country, all of that excitement starts to turn on its head. And the audience then is taken on the ride of what the Filipino people experienced, how they felt hoodwinked, how they felt like they were rooting for somebody, and then the people in power started to change.
Wow.
So the audience is experiencing something pretty powerful. And what the story in our show, what it does is it kind of, there's a lot of immersive visuals happening. And a lot of times what you're experiencing visually is in direct conflict and contrast to what you're hearing sonically. So it's creating this dissonance within you, and it's creating.
Look at the propaganda, but here's the truth of what's going on.
Yeah, distraction,
right.
distraction.
Right. By the end of the show, the audience has that visceral experience of what just happened, who are we excited to be dancing with, and they witness an assassination. They become part of a funeral procession. They become part of the revolution that ousted the Marcoses from the Philippines. So the audience is taken on a ride. And the way that this production, the way that they've done it is, it's like a 90-minute rocket ship where you walk in thinking it's going to be one thing, and then you have the experience of what it's like to have your democracy taken away from you and then to fight to get it back. And I think there's nowhere else in the theater that anybody can have that incredible journey viscerally. Like, you can read about this, you can watch documentaries, but to feel what that was like, our show is giving people something that they can walk out of the theater and talk about, but also keep their eyes open for.
That's what I was going to just say. The common denominator that I've heard from most people that have seen the show is the conversation continues outside.
Yeah.
There's also self-reflection going, okay, I just stood up and danced like I was at a party, but for whom and how did that make me feel? And why am I doing that? And I'm looking at my neighbor and they too are jumping up and down. And we know that what we're feeling is amazing, but how we got here and why we're cheering on this woman it's very conflicting. This is the interesting thing about Imelda Marcos. Was it a dictatorship or was it true democracy, right? So there's that back and forth with the woman, as controversial and complex and polarizing as she is, the experience within yourself. You walk out and go, okay, I'm conflicted. What just happened?
Yeah.
It was
and
amazing.
I think that's the point, because
right.
in the real world, then it's going to get you to a place to question for yourself. What's happening around you? Who are you voting for? How do we keep
alert?
How do we
How do you recognize
recognize
what's truth when there's all of this distraction and glitz and silliness going on around you? I mean,
and I think
it's not just in the Philippines, right? That's what's happening here.
That's right. Yes.
That's right. And you know, and I think art in America can be very black and white. And a lot of people only want to watch stories where the good people, you know, are good, and the bad people, you know, are bad. And the bad people are, you know, misshapen faces and red eyes and horns. And you kind of know from the beginning, I don't trust that person. Then in the real world,
it's not that two-dimensional.
It's not like that.
Right.
And so to be able to have the experience in a theatrical format where you see that it's not like that, and sometimes the most, charming people are the ones who could have ulterior motives.
Yeah.
It's the
We're
crazy
all
thing.
anti-heroes. We really are.
It's
All
the
of us.
crazy thing because it actually mirrors your experience in middle school, right? You're going through middle school and you're thinking these girls are one thing and they have this group and this club and they're dancing and they have cheers and everything else. And then you turn around and look what it was.
Yeah.
It flipped you on your head. You weren't even expecting it. It must stir up the same feelings somewhere
Wow.
inside
I didn't
of
even
you.
put that together, but
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question now just from the technical aspect. As an actor, being surrounded by your audience, them truly being in the center of the storytelling and the action, what is the most joyful bit that you came to realize and the most challenging bit, having your audience members be so much a part of the storytelling?
So the most joyful bit is really feeling their excitement and enthusiasm. It's kind of a dark part of the show, but when I start dancing and get everyone around me to start dancing with me, to see them really like let loose and to see them really having this experience where they're set free in a way because they're doing something in a Broadway theater that they have never been able to do before as audience members. So for me, just witnessing that is just really fun and exciting. The other joyful thing is there's a moment in the show where it's a campaign trail for the election, and Jose Lana, who plays Ferdinand Marcos, he and I are
Fabulous.
both going up and down this. It's called the blender, which is the platform in the center that kind of turns throughout the show, and the audience has to shift when it turns as well. So we're going up and down this platform and we're shaking people's hands as if they are people who are at our campaign rallies. So to see them get so excited and surprised that they are being invited to be a part of the story, that feels joyful to me because I see their eyes light up and I see them like outstretch their hands because they want to, they're in the show in a way that, most shows you just get to watch it. So that's a joyful part for me. I get to experience the show through their eyes.
And challenging.
One of the things that we do in the show is there's live cameras on our faces for some of the songs that are projecting our faces on larger screens elsewhere. So I'm performing a song to the audience, which distance-wise is sometimes 3 feet in front of me if they're right up against the stage standing, or sometimes is at the back of the rear mezzanine. So the scale of having to do it in an authentic way where I reach the back of the theater, but also not so over the top that it's someone right, 3 feet from me. It's just too much.
Yeah.
So there's that distance aspect, but then combined with there's a live camera on a close-up on my face, projecting it elsewhere. So this is the first time in my career so far where I've had that asked of me to do. Acting is acting, I suppose, but acting for camera and acting on stage at the same time has never been asked of me before. So there's a challenge in that, and it takes an immense amount of trust in myself and in just trust that being present and experiencing what these emotions and these thoughts as if they are within me, but also outward in front of me at the same time.
That it will translate authentically for that person 3 feet and that person 50 feet away from you.
And on the camera, that's
on the camera.
close up on my face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely a new challenge.
How did you rehearse this without an audience? Because I know, it's hard to rehearse in a rehearsal room, especially when you're only hearing the laughs or the response from your director and your choreographer. But this experience is half of the show. Half of what you're doing is based on how they respond, who they are, what's going on. How did you know that what you were going to bring the day of with the people there, what that formula was going to feel like?
So, it definitely shifted from rehearsal space through the preview process to what it is. We were very fortunate that the rehearsal space we were in was the basement of a church, a very large basement of a church.
Yeah.
That actually had our full set with all the platforms and the moving pieces. It was
wow.
all
Amazing. That's amazing.
Wow.
and also so fortunate that the way that our director, Alex Timbers, crafted the rehearsal process was that he made sure that before we moved from the rehearsal space to the theater for tech, that there were 4 days of run-throughs with invited guests.
Oh, so smart.
And so we had 4 days, we had 4 run-throughs in that space with those platforms, with friends and family.
Mm.
And so we could really get a sense of how they're incorporated in our show.
So smart.
Yeah.
How many people are in the audience every night, babe? Because they're probably crammed in, standing up down close to the stage. What would you
Yeah.
say is the,
So the dance floor fits about 300.
and then the rest
And
are
then-
seated?
The rest
Yeah.
are seated. Yeah,
It's unlike anything Broadway has ever seen.
it is.
Wow.
And I'm wondering and hopeful about what it's going to change for the future of Broadway.
You would be an advocate for more sort of immersive storytelling like this.
I would, because I think that audiences, well, there's so much more immersiveness happening in the public. I'm outside of Broadway. There's, immersive this, immersive that. People are excited about it. But I think what this show does with its immersiveness, where we're getting the audience to have an experience that mirrors the storytelling that we're trying to get them to go on a journey of, where they're actually, they are taken internally through something shifting as well as externally shifting. I think that that's so powerful, and creatively, the creative minds of Broadway, it's just going to open up so much possibility in their minds. And I think as audience members, after experiencing something like this, eventually they might ask for more from other pieces
I
of
tend
theater.
to agree with you, because back when we did Boy from Oz, and I don't know, is it 2002, 2003, something like that? Hugh Jackman playing Peter Allen, he would break the fourth wall a lot. And in the early stages, our director was like, okay, we can't break the fourth wall that much, Hugh. One, technically, you talk so long that we go over time, and now we're paying, the stage hands over time. Our orchestra actually left several times. And so we would finish the show with just a piano because we went over time and nobody was going to pay them. So our orchestra literally would up and leave, and our pit would just be a
Oh my God.
piano player. So there was that. I'm saying this because he felt so strongly, instinctively, that Peter Allen did this. And this is what made it so exciting. It wasn't a book musical per se. It was more of an experience. And when people would come into the theater starting to get a whiff of, he may call me out, he may notice me, I may be asked to be brought on stage. That sort of, I'm not just a spectator, I am literally part of the experience of the evening. That it then became really a talking point and a reason why people would buy tickets, because they weren't just sitting there watching something. There's a chance that they could actually be a part of it. And now, how 20 some years later or 20 years later, Here Lies Love, you buy the ticket and you say, I know I'm going to be a part of it. I'm actually wanting to engage and be part of this experience. It's no longer just, well, you can't say just. Theater is a powerful art form, but we can't define it. It's not a binary thing of sitting and watching theater. It's now truly an experience for people. All right, we've arrived at the 5 questions, but just before, a word from our sponsors.
Okay,
I know
you
it's going to
start.
be vegan, but if you were pizza, are you thin crust, thick crust, deep dish, and what is on that pizza?
Thick crust, because I like it doughy.
Yes, girl.
And my pizza is pretty simple. I like extra red sauce, normal cheese, and pineapple.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's very California. of you.
I
No more
know.
talk about food. I'm fasting today and I haven't eaten, so we can't talk about food anymore.
Oh, sorry.
No more
I'm
food.
sorry, honey.
Okay.
Switch it.
So when they went into Imelda's closet and they found 3,000 pairs of shoes, if we were to walk into your closet, tell me something that you will never get rid of because it has so much emotional value to you, whether it's a item of clothing or jewelry or something else?
Ooh, I have this ring that I'm wearing and I wear it every day. It's actually a blue diamond in this center of it. But what people don't know, may not know, is that it's cremation diamond. So it was made from the ashes of my father.
Oh,
And
wow.
he passed away 2 years ago from Alzheimer's and Lewy body dementia. And after he passed, I was trying to figure out how I want to keep him with me. But then I discovered that they can make diamonds.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Very special. If you were to wake up tomorrow with a superpower, worldly or otherworldly, what would that superpower be?
If I was a superhero, my answer has always been teleportation because I love to travel. And I also love the idea that if I miss somebody, I can snap my fingers and be right there with them and then snap my fingers and be right back. So, yeah.
Avoid airports.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a ritual or something that you do before a show that you do every time or before something special in your life?
So I do my normal warming up, right? Vocal warm ups, all that. And then right before I go on stage, I always have a dance party.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. And it started last year because when I was doing my show Between the Lines at Second Stage, I don't know why, but I started doing this dance my husband and I created called the Confidence. So it goes like confidence, confidence, confidence in your comfy pants, confidence, confidence, confidence in your comfy pants. And so I just basically would do that before I went on stage, and it would always be with whoever's in the wings with me.
Yeah.
And now I do it at Here Lies Love, whoever is backstage with me, not the exact same dance, but we have a little choreographed dance that we do to the song that plays right before my first song. I just feel like when I dance right before I go on stage, it just, it gets me playful and present. It releases nerves and it gets me feeling, all of the self-doubt goes away. You're just like, whatever, I'm going to play. I'm going to be there.
Confident.
You better
comfy pants.
She better copyright that because that sounds like a Beyonce or a Taylor Swift thing. A confidence. Okay, last question. If you were a nail polish color, what color would that be? And what's the cheeky little name of that nail polish?
I love that you asked this. I always thought the person with the most funnest, I don't think that's a word, the most fun job on earth is the
OPI person.
Yeah. Who names the nail polish colors? Because that's so fun.
I covet their job too. I love it.
So my favorite, I don't paint my nails anymore, but I don't know why. I just, unless it's like some real glamorous event, then I'll do it. But I don't really like how it feels. But what I think I would do is something like shiny, like a coppery gold.
Okay.
And I think I would call it golden magic dust.
Ooh, nice one.
Hey, I like it.
I like it too.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all the good things.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
hope your first vegan Filipino meal is freaking delicious. Let us know how it is. Or
awesome. Okay, I'll do that.
all good things to you.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're super busy. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Boy, how adorable is she?
I love really adorable. And I think you guys would be like kindred spirits.
I felt very kindred with her, talking about the animals and
yes,
just how you were when you were little and stuff. But when she was talking about trying to find that balance between being small enough for the people 3 feet in front of you, big enough for the people 60 feet out there and the camera, I thought of when you were talking about when you were filming falsettos.
Oh,
I remember
totally.
you sort of describing the same thing. Like you were trying to find that balance between having this camera in your face and trying to find the trust in James Lapine when he kept saying, Steph, you know, this is how you balance it. It's an interesting thing.
That hit me. And then I also thought what she was talking about, just because it's so topical right now, is the Barbie movie and just being a woman. That balance of I want to be big enough, but not too big. I want to make sure that this is right, but I don't make them feel small. I want to, this constant loop in our heads as women to make sure that we are navigating in a way that keeps us safe, that keeps us what we perceive as being loved and not too big for the space and not to upset the other person. person and
Don't be selfish.
exactly.
But don't give too much. Don't. Yeah.
Yes.
It's always
The
it's all. But
impossible balance.
did you
the
see that
impossible
movie?
dance.
Did you
I
see
have
it?
not yet.
Oh,
We were going to take the V's.
It's pretty amazing.
I will go, and I
Yeah.
will go probably with my girlfriends. I personally just
I
don't
went
feel
with
it's
my girlfriends.
appropriate for
Yeah.
an 8-year-old because I think the themes are just a little too deep, and she will want to try to understand what those themes are. And I don't feel ready to broach some of those bigger themes with her right now.
Yeah. No.
But I've read
more
like
fun with your
America.
girlfriends anyway.
Yeah, I've read America Ferrera's her character's speech at the end.
Mhm.
And, there was another quote that instantly made me tear up where one of the characters says, us mothers are staying even more still so
Yes.
that you can see how far when you turn
Yes.
around, you can see how far you've come.
Yeah.
Somehow like that just shattered me.
Yeah.
So I am
Yeah.
anxious
That's
to
a
see
beautiful quote. I remember that. Yeah. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful.
and how women are making art and they're breaking all of the, box office records.
I know.
And
It's awesome.
it is awesome. It really
really
is awesome.
And the other thing that occurred to me when you guys were talking about like manifesting, how she sort of sees it. And
Yeah.
there's this really interesting thing in it. And we should talk about it because we've often talked on here about putting your vision into the positive present tense, like I am,
Yes.
not
Yes.
I will.
Yes.
But the next step to that, like the second step to that whole manifesting process, which I've been reading about lately and I find it super helpful, is each chakra has like a I something.
Mhm.
So the first one is I am, and that's like your like connection to earth. I am. But the second one is I feel. The third one is I create. The fourth one is I love. The fifth one is I speak. I see is the sixth one. And then I know is the top one. And so when you're manifesting something into being, so let's say you want to manifest wealth. Okay. So it's, I am wealthy, but then it's, I feel wealthy, and that changes it. Right. Because then it forces you to actually feel the feeling of what it will be, what it is to have wealth. I create wealth. I love wealth, and that gives you permission to be okay with being
that one. And when, as soon as you said it, it made me feel selfish and greedy.
No,
and
but
off
it's
kilter.
not. It's not. It's you have the right to the things that you desire. I speak wealth so that you are responsible for the words that come out of your mouth and how they affect your being. I see it. I can see it. I can close my eyes and see what my life would be. And I know it.
Therefore you know it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about like, I am positive present tense, but in order for it to really manifest, you have to take the energy all the way up to grab what's at the
even
top.
though she is a quieter voiced human, you can tell she is a very strong and powerful spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was another quote that when I was doing a little bit of homework on her, she had said something along the lines, which I firmly believe in as well as an artist, that she is more interested in the human experience and how to grow and how it connects us all. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, no, this conversation is going to be great. I mean, it's exactly what we are trying to promote with this podcast. Less about the show busy part of it and more about the human experience and the connection of it. And she certainly is doing that.
All right, my friend. This was lovely.
Friend. You are lovely. No, you are. No, you. I wish you luck tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
And what's your first meal going to be tomorrow?
Well, I'm fasting because I have a medical procedure tomorrow, so that's
I mean,
why
just say it. We all got to do it. I mean, let's make it. Yeah,
well,
right.
And you know what's funny is our first episode 2 years ago with Jason
Gra. Stupid Jason Gra. Yes.
Anyway,
so get it done. If you're over 50, everybody get it done.
My first meal is going to be fish cakes. Have you ever had fish cakes?
Girl, I eat nothing from the sea. So what you just said makes me want to vomit.
My mother makes the best fish cakes. It's like mashed fish and potatoes and onions and garlic. And then you make it like into a ball and you fry it like a clam cake. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, that's going to be I don't want to talk about food. I'm starving.
Right.
And I'm cranky.
I thought you held it together really, really well.
I'm getting a little dizzy. I noticed myself getting kind of like dizzy and spacey, and then I'm like, bring them back.
Listeners, this was maybe 20 minutes before the interview. And she said, just FYI, this is moments before the interview. Super cranky, haven't eaten, have a colonoscopy tomorrow, so I'm not at my best. And I was like, I got you, girl. I hate that for you, but I got you. I did a lot of work and I am ready to go.
Oh my God.
But that's the real stuff, right?
I'm not leaving any of this in.
You have to. I think the colonoscopy thing is super duper important. In fact, is her name Mayim Bialik? She was Blossom and now she's, she's on the Big Bang Theory. She just did like a whole Instagram thing about this is not glamorous. Look at me, but you have to do it because it is smart. It is. And it's a cancer that they can find very early in, you know, early detection is the key to everything. It's just an unsavory part of our body that nobody wants to talk about. But, I didn't mean to say, but you have to get it done.
And we're back.
We're back end.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I love you.
Love you too. Stages podcast is produced by Stephanie J. Block and Mary Lee Fairbanks in association with iHeartRadio. It can be heard on the iHeartRadio podcast and iHeartRadio Broadway or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Please join our cast by signing up at stagespodcast.net, listening, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. It all makes such a difference in getting the word out. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again soon.